Alors, je m'appelle Massimo Avoli. Je suis italien d'origine, né à Rome, and I am a neuroscientist here at the Montreal Neurological Institute. My main focus of research is on mechanism of epileptic disorders. Well, I can say that my research with Dr. De Curtis changed the way we are trying to cure epileptic disorders. Well, focal epilepsy is a disorder, a neurological disorder that belongs to the epileptic disorders, where only one part of the brain is generating epileptic activity. One achievement that can be of general interest to some extent is that originally we thought that seizures occur when inhibition in the brain is decreased. Paradoxically, surprisingly, we discovered that increasing inhibition can trigger seizure. So this has implication for the therapy of epilepsy. In fact, in the late 80s, there were efforts by the pharmaceutical industries to develop anti-epileptic drugs who were enhancing inhibition. And all these molecules failed in being consistently a good anti-epileptic drug.
In 2018, the Neuro became the first institutions around the world to fully embrace the principles of open science, where open science means the distribution of knowledge, of materials, of information, without any restrictions, without any limits, in order to accelerate the pace of discovery and also to accelerate the pace of development of new therapy.
With Marco, we started working on a common project, and we have been doing, I think, several experiments in common here in Montreal, in Milano. We obtained, or better, he obtained, with me as collaborator, a grant from the Ministero della Sanità, the health department, the Italian health department, to do this specific experimental work.
I'm working in epilepsy, and epilepsy is a very common disease. It's roughly distributed among 1% of the whole population. Everybody knows a person who suffers of seizures of epilepsy. And 10% of these patients have a temporal epilepsy, which is a specific form of epilepsy, which is drug resistant, so it's resistant to pharmacological treatment. So as I mentioned, the two institutes, the MNI and the Carlo Besta Institute, are really two environments where specific ideas on the pathogenesis of the disease, epilepsy in our case, are generated. And there was a kind of natural for Dr. Avoli and myself to interact because of the environment of our two institutes, which are very specific and very peculiar. We had the chance to elaborate something in a complementary and also in parallel way. So we went in both directions.
At the Montreal Neurological Institute, we look at research centers and hospitals in Italy as centers of excellence for research and care into terrible neurological conditions, such as, for example, epilepsy. There is a long tradition of research and care in Italy in these diseases and disorders, and such is the situation at the Neuro as well. So the synergy is obvious, and the potential for collaboration is enormous.
Oh, by all means, these exchanges will keep on going. I think that the story has to be written.